Welcome back to the Global Sports Report here on Rise News. Now, the newly appointed Nigeria Women Football League board, led by chairperson Nkechi, on Thursday held its first annual General Assembly themed Women Football Rising. Mr. Obi, in a welcome address, noted that the board had been saddled with the responsibility of driving growth of professional women football in Nigeria, building on previous success recorded in the past. She said it was important to grow the level of the female participation and capacity in football. She further said, and I quote, "For the first time, the Elite Women's League will be embracing and promoting the significance of sustainability in sports in general, in Nigeria, and women's football in particular." We have here in the studio with us the chairperson of the Nigeria Women's Football League, Nkechi. We want to say thank you very much for joining us today.
It's my pleasure, Aaron, and thank you for inviting me.
My pleasure. I'm happy that women's football is on an ascendancy. Now,
yes.
Put it into context, because I was at the Women's World Cup and I saw the appetite for women's football grow. And the Super Falcons also had a stellar World Cup. And putting all that into the mix, a lot of people, once again, have turned their attention to the molding blocks, or the factory for the molding blocks of the national team, which is the league.
Yes.
And that you are directly involved with.
Yes.
And a lot of people are saying that it still leaves a lot to be desired. The gulf between those that play in the Super Falcons and those that actually apply their trade in the Nigeria Women Football League is wide. We know we had Gift Monday, but she didn't shine like a million star. We're expecting her to rise to the occasion. How do we bridge that gap? Let's start it from there.
Okay, so which gap?
The
gulf between the NWFL and the people who play in the Super Eagles is wide. So, you see, I don't want this to be about the women or the men. The issue is about the football ecosystem. But let me address the question you've asked. Look, 15 players in the Falcons team that went to Australia came from the Women's League. We are doing better than what the men. You can't make the same claim for the men. But having said that, yes, we do recognize that we need to grow. We actually want to see more people come directly and not via a transatlantic route that takes them out first before bringing them in. So to that effect, you know, what I've always advocated in any developmental plan is to grow the ecosystem. No matter how we slice and dice it, not everybody, all the talent we have in Nigeria can actually play abroad. But they must earn a living wage. They must, you know, drive their passion, live their passion within an ecosystem that supports it. So for us at the board, our real focus is to ensure that the women's game can support any girl who wishes to play football and play it to the highest levels. Secondly, if they wish to be professional, they must also be able to encourage to be professional here and earn a wage that can sustain them. Aaron, most of the girls who play are actually the breadwinners of their families.
Wow.
Oh, yes. And that's why when you see the argument about money, it's tied to the fact that that money is actually meant for something. So for us, there are three things we're doing, particularly with our platform, Women's Football Rising, is to grow the number of women playing football, girls playing football at every level, ensure that the ecosystem can support anybody that wishes to go from raw talent to finished product, ensure that the ecosystem can also have the support structures in terms of corporate governance, administration, and management of clubs and the game, and by that I mean coaches, referees, and who are women. We still have a predominance of men coaching women's clubs. We want to see that improve. So under Women's Football Rising, we're going to increase the number of female coaches we get under our Class to Pitch program. We're going to increase the number of female referees we get. We're going to ensure that the ecosystem, as far as players is concerned, increases. CAF report, women's report says we were 420 players. That's not true, but that's what is in 2022 report. Now, even without the CAF report, in our Premiership and our Championship, we're just roughly about 1,500.
Okay.
So what we've done is to restructure the third tier nationwide into what we call the states leagues. And with just that restructuring, we've increased the number of clubs by about 180 clubs. But we have put an age limit. It must be a feeder system for the Premiership and the Championship. So we've put an age bracket there that you must be 14 to 19 to play there. But that is, with that change, our ecosystem has gone up to about 7,000 players. And so we can begin to talk to corporates, can begin to talk to developmental agencies, we can begin to talk to people who are looking for platforms that involve women to talk to girls. We also developed what we called our football and the girl child platform to be able to go backwards into schools and start showing young girls as young as 10, 11, 12 that playing football or having a career in the football ecosystem is quite lucrative. So we must build the ecosystem so that those people we go to in schools can see that we are telling the truth and can make their way there.
Yeah, because of time.
Yes.
I was quite ecstatic when I found out that you were going to head the Women's League for a particular reason, being that I knew you, when I knew you as a sports marketing consultant par excellence, let me put it that way. And I was happy because for once, we have someone that can actually drive the corporates to come into football, especially women's football. But first of all, let's say it this way. Why is it difficult to market our football? Because even the men are struggling to be able to get the resources needed to stay afloat. Talk more of the women.
Off camera, we're having this conversation. And one of the first things I always tell people is that you cannot sell what doesn't exist. So first you must start, in marketing they tell us it is product, pricing, and all of that. But you must always start with the product. The sad part is that we think that going every Saturday or every Friday to play 90 minutes of football that we have a product. No, it's not true. We do not have a product because a product means that somebody desires to put their hand in their pocket and take their hard-earned money and give you, and in return purchase what you have. True. How many people are purchasing the product called local football? That's where you start. So at the NWFL, we assessed, the first thing the board did was to assess, this is where we are. And our product really cannot get, to put it mildly, people are not going to put their hands in their pocket. True. But if we focus on what gives us a product that is complete, that is not only about 90 minutes on the field, but it's about what happens off. How are we building the system? We need to put a structure that tells people this thing is interesting, that tells a young girl in 12 that, hey, if I follow this thing, I will make money, I will feed my family, I will build a house, I will do all of that. Then we know we've got something. So all the stuff I've explained to you under Women's Football Rising is our first effort at building the product. And some of it requires us to have IP-protected properties we can sell. So the NWFL has actually registered all its initiatives, including Women's Football Rising, including the He for She program, which is a fundraising platform that involves high net worth men from different parts of society coming together to raise money to drive our Football and the Girl initiative, which is also our sisterhood, which is high net worth women coming together to raise money for Class to Pitch program, capacity development, which is also tied to everything we're doing. And we've registered them as products, as trademarked products. We can now go and develop a proper marketing investment around. And so with that, we'll be talking investment and not really sponsorship.
I must say one thing I can assure you is we'll still have you here again, because for the brevity of time, I need to end it here. But this is an ongoing conversation.
No, it is.
Because my dream and my desire is to see women's football probably compete with the rest of the world, because women's football right now, like you said, is on the rise.
It's on the rise, and that's why our platform is Women's Football Rising.
Right.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.